Hello everyone. If you have been asking if Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 is the answer to all hopes and dreams of a perfect foldable in this world, stay until the end to hear my take on that. My name is Ali and I'm sharing my thoughts on the Galaxy Z Fold 6 after a solid 50 days of daily driving it. Coming from the iPhone 15 Pro Max, it was a big change for me. I do like some things about it, I don't like some things about it, and there are some really painful decisions which I had to make. So today we're gonna talk about that. You heard that, right? This is one of the best things I think about this foldable for me. I've been using it a lot, and this foldable screen is a massive draw for this phone. Literally, it's a whole new experience compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. When unfolded, it feels like you have a iPad mini in your hands. But the best thing is that when you fold it, it's just like you are carrying a regular phone and you can take it everywhere with you, which is amazing. So think about it a little bit. There is so much more display to work with. There is so much more room to play around, to watch the video. You will just love how consuming media becomes such a enjoyment for me, at least. Think about it. Reading emails on one half of the screen while taking notes on the other, or watching a video in one corner and checking your calendar in another. Have you ever used Google Sheets on the iPhone? This is how I use the Google Sheets on the Galaxy Z Fold 6. If you have ever tried to do editing on a Google Sheet on an iPhone, I'm sure that you know the pain. So the multitasking on this thing is amazing. I really feel like that I'm using a pro level device when I use this foldable. One area where Samsung shines is with its software flexibility. Thanks to Android and Samsung One UI, if you are the type of person who likes to tweak their phones to their needs, Android really is a playground. Apple have made some changes there with the iOS 18, but no, not really. I can customize my everything about this phone, from third-party keyboards to themes to icons to different apps to different browsers to everything what you can think of, you can change on your phone. So I'm the type of guy who used to use iPhones in the old days. I used to jailbreak the iPhones to get more out of my iPhone. I wanted to make it my device. I just don't feel like the iPhone is my device when I use it. But when I used Fold 6, I actually felt like that this is my device which I'm using. So this is what I talked about, what I like about. One thing which I don't like about this phone is this narrow screen. I don't like the outer display. So I have tried using the outer screen for quick texting or quick emails, and it's fine, but it just doesn't feel as comfortable. I think I've looked at the Pixel Fold Pro, which one of my friend had, and I think that offers a wider outer display, and I think that is a perfect size because it's literally like a Pixel 9 Pro size, and when you unfold it, it becomes a tablet. I think that's a perfect size. So I think going to the future, I would recommend Samsung to increase the outer display size, make it like a normal phone. So when you are out and about, or when you need to take a quick picture or do something, you can just use the outer display. And when you have to really get into the reading mode or into consuming media, you can unfold it and use it to its full extent. I think that's the ideal state. So if you want to give me the best foldable phone in this price point, I would say give me the Pixel 9 Pro Fold hardware with the Samsung One UI software. Let's talk cameras, a place where iPhones always excelled. The Fold 6 has a good camera, don't get me wrong, but coming from the iPhone, the difference in quality is noticeable. For instance, I take pictures of my family, my kids, they can definitely see, and they tell me that, Dad, what's wrong with your phone's pictures quality, and you can tell that iPhone is the standard. And I have used the Samsung S24 Ultra, and that is Samsung's flagship phone, and they actually have better cameras. This phone cost double the amount of Samsung S24 Ultra, and the cameras are really worse than the Ultra one, so it doesn't make any sense. So I hope that Samsung takes that into consideration. So I did miss the camera quality there. So I talked about camera, I don't like it. But one thing which I hate even more than the camera is moving from Apple's ecosystem. The walls are really big, and it's hard to jump over. The one thing which I miss, which was very small thing, is the Apple's MagSafe charging. So out of the box, this phone does not come with the Apple MagSafe. If you want to have the MagSafe capability, you need to buy a case. Thing which I have learned early on in my in this journey of trying different phones and different services is that I was in the Apple home ecosystem from the start. I was using the Apple ecosystem, but I never tied myself to Apple. My email is not with Apple, my calendar is not with Apple, my password manager is not with Apple. So I try to use the apps which I can use on multi-platform. So they are cross-platform. So I can use them on Windows, I can use them on Android, iOS, and Mac. So let's come to the smart home control on this Z Fold 6. Smart home control has been way more challenging than what I was thinking. I have several Apple devices, and all the devices which I have bought to set up my smart home, they are in one way or another I was able to integrate into my Apple HomeKit system. But now there is only one device in the whole house which is not HomeKit compatible, and that is my Z Fold 6. So what do I do with that? I tried using the Samsung Smart Things. It didn't work for me. It's not working as I wished it would, but I can fix it. I can work around it in some ways. I can use another app. I can use Home Assistant to access all of my devices which I'm using, and that works fine for me. So there is a little bit of compromise, if you say so. Let's talk about gaming and media. It's a mix of highs and lows. For gaming, it does take advantage of the larger screen. It's been really good. You get really into the game. But at the same time, I feel like the quality of the apps on Android is a little bit low. If you are watching media, you do have this biggest screen, but actually you'll still get the wide black bars on the side. One thing I would mention though is that you don't see the crease in the middle if you are watching the media. It's not. But it's still an awesome experience. The speakers are really good. The bigger screen does help, but I feel like it's not that big of a jump just because of those black bars. The best thing is that it's like always having a mini tablet in your hand, in your pocket. So what are my real thoughts after using it for 2 months? I love this device. I really like this device. So as I mentioned in my other reviews as well, I try to use Android every year. I try the latest and greatest, but I use it for 2 weeks maximum, and then I go back to my iPhone. This is the first time I've been using Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6, and I used this Android phone for almost 2 months. That's a record. So that tells me that this phone does have potential. As I mentioned, that if the outer screen is a little bit taller and a little bit wider, not even taller, if it's a little bit wider and they provide me with the same Samsung features, I think the next foldable can be the foldable for which I switch fully from Apple to Samsung. One thing I really struggled with when I was using Galaxy Z Fold 6, and that this is one of the things where you can see that how Apple and Samsung's actually puts you in a wall and they want you to keep you there. So there are some things which you can do on a MacBook, but most of the things you can find a workaround. So I wouldn't call it that you are completely blocked in a wall and you can't really change. So let me end this video with my final thoughts on this one. So even though that I've used it for 60 days, but there were many compromises which I had to do. I think I would be okay with all those compromises if the phone screen size, if the outer display was a little bit wider. So I think for me, I may switch back to my iPhone and wait for a phone, which is the next phone in the Z Fold series, and I hope that it's a wider display. What I really learned in these 2 months about this phone and this Android ecosystem as an overall is that Samsung has the best UI. In what you get as a whole in a package with Samsung device, I think Google cannot beat that. So I think even for my next phone, for a foldable, I will be waiting for a wider Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 or Special Edition or whatever Samsung decides to call it, or until the Apple comes out with a foldable. I think if Apple comes out with a foldable, I'll be the first in line, but I'm not sure when that will happen. I'm sure it will happen. So these are my real thoughts and my honest opinion about this phone and why I may switch back to iPhone. And if you have your feedback, tell me your experience, how it is in the comments below. If you have decided to switch to from iPhone to Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 or to another Android device, and if you are thinking of switching, or how are you making it all work, and if you have switched for good. But this time I am hopeful that I was able to actually last 2 months. Before, in previous years, I was only able to last 2 weeks with Android. So I think that's a progress. Android is improving, and I think eventually we may get there, maybe next year, that I may switch to Android fully 100%. So stay tuned, leave your feedback, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you are new, and let me know what kind of videos you want to see. So yeah, thank you for watching if you have watched it this far, and yeah, see you in the next one.